So now that the neck is set up, we're going to work on getting the dots in the fretboard so we can get the fretboard glued on. You see we're over at the drill press, and we've got a stop to help us match the depth of the dots in the fretboard. And that's all set up, so the drill press will stop at a certain depth, not cut too deep. I think I already showed that I marked them all up with pencil, so they should all be marked, ready to go. So I've given Troy the finger plane and the task to take down our fill strip, and he's enjoying the art of you running the finger plane. Now what would be really funny is if we didn't speed this part of the video up, so everybody just had to suffer with you. So this is the point that I realized I didn't film any of this, but after we got all the holes drilled, we started putting the inlays in, and I'll basically show you what we did. We took the little inlay dot, put it on the hole, actually put it next to the hole. I put a little dot of CA glue in, and then with the pick I pushed the dot into the hole, and then dabbed off any extra glue that squeezed out with my blue rag. And now Troy's going to come through and scrape them and make sure they're flat. I'm fairly certain we're ready to glue the fretboard on, and to make sure that it doesn't move once we put the glue on, I'm going to do Jerry's trick of putting the little tiny nails in. So I'm going to do that first. Everything's a hammer, but typically you want a hammer. So now there's two little pins that stick out. So what we'll do is we'll get this all lined up, and our lines are still on the back of the fretboard. So we'll just turn the whole thing over probably. Run it that way. And then when it's all lined up, we'll press real hard. It'll leave an indentation on the bottom of the fretboard. We'll drill it out a little bit, and then it'll index to the neck. You can't do that. Alright, I think we're ready to glue the fretboard on. We've got it sitting in Jerry's clamp just because it makes it a lot easier to get clamps underneath it when it's kind of held up above the table. So, it's sitting here, we're getting ready to put glue on it. I don't know if you can see them, but there's a bunch of C-clamps sitting over here waiting to go on. I think we are good to go. Take two. We put some different nails in. Try it again. Alright, here we go. You didn't check depth, did you? Oh, you didn't check depth on the screw, did you? No. You should be fine. You can check this on, did you? No, that's right. You're not going to. Troy is working on taking the fretboard down to the neck shape because it had a little bit of overhang on both sides. He's getting it really close. I think we're going to do it final shaping with the sander tool that old Alan Dust sent us. For now, Troy's just using a file. We took the bulk of it off with one of the sanders, so it didn't take so long.
On one side?
Well, on one side. Troy did the whole other side by hand. Everybody asks why Troy does all the work and I stand around and watch him.
That's not true. That's hardly happened.
Well, a lot of people ask something along those lines. And the reason is, it is Troy's guitar and he wants to do the work, right?
Yeah.
I'm giving the guidance and usually starting and then handing it to Troy and turning the camera on. So that's the reason you only see Troy doing it and I stand around and talk. So the next thing we're gonna do, well, we worked on the neck a little bit, and I've actually got it oiled because I wanted to see how it felt, and it's looking really good, feeling really good. We're gonna drill the tuner holes out. You'll hold this. I've got a tuner here, and the first hole we're gonna drill all the way through is the size of the outside of the collar. We're gonna come back and drill a hole in the back of the headstock, not all the way through, but deep enough for the thickest part of this, because we don't want it to have too much play in the hole, and that way it'll fit nice and snug and won't really rattle around. So this is set up for the collar size. We're going to drill all the way through with this. Should be good. Safety first.
Or maybe second.
Safety 11th. Your hands a safe distance from the drill bit.
Yes.
As much.
No, you weren't.
So now that we're done with the headstock, and I say done, I've been working on getting the color right, and the name needs scraped again, so we can do that down the line. I want to get frets in this thing, and I think we're ready to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and drive them in. I think I'm going to try to cut the ends off after I drive them in, so. This is a brass end. It should be softer than the fret, so I shouldn't be tearing the frets up. Jerry made it with the intention of using it for this purpose. Should be soft enough to drive frets with. Alright, we're trying everything we can to get this neck glued in tonight. We have got the frets all to the end of the fretboard and then slightly beveled over, especially fixed at the end. It'd be hard to get to once it's glued in. It is currently 2:55 in the morning. We're going to try to get this glued in and then we'll call it a day. Morning. So I've gone ahead and made a little filler piece. This is going to go on our overhang. and then get glued in here just to make it look like it's nice and supported. That's where we're going to start. So I'm going to put a little glue along here.
Broken, I ain't hungry.
You want to keep going?
No, I didn't know you were recording.
So this sat up overnight, and the first thing this morning, as soon as we got back in the shop, we started working on getting everything cleaned up. It's nice and cleaned up. You can't see it anymore because it's taped off, because I'm going to apply some grain filler to the body. We're going to use this Aqua Coat stuff. Jerry has some. I think he said he's used it before. I've never used it before, so I'm going to try to follow the directions to the best of my ability.
All right.
I'm going to try. No. So this is about, well, it's over 30 minutes later. And per the instructions, I am sanding with 320. And then we'll do it again.
And again.
Alright, so this is actually the third coat we just put on here. You can see there's some on the back of the headstock as well. We've got it taped off. We're going to let this sit for about 30 minutes or so until it's totally solid, and then we're going to call it. Troy's going to take it back with him. We're going to let it totally cure, and the next thing we'll do, I think, is sand it flat and we start working on finish. I think.